as we give a build up to the summit we're having. Mr. Chong, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, and good evening to you, IK. It's been long being here. I'm glad that I've been given an opportunity to come and make an appearance. And good evening to our viewers out there.
Thank you so much, IP, by the way. I don't want to impersonate IP. Thank you so much. All right, let's begin from there. As a country, we'll be hosting the Summit on Democracy. And wow, this coming at a time when we've got a new administration in place in the name of the New Dawn government, which has actually promised to ensure that we govern the country using the rule of law, as well as matters to deal with a corruption fight. So far, in a nutshell, how do you look at the summit we'll be holding come next week?
I think the summit that we'll be holding, they are talking about democracy. And we have heard the president preaching about democracy relentlessly and tirelessly. But I think I am not going to be the first one to doubt a little bit here and there, because even the president himself at some point he had made it clear to say, look, certain pronouncements that we make at that level, they do not reflect on the ground. And I think there's a lot more that presidential appointees need to do to make sure that his pronouncements on top there, they're in line with what is happening on the ground. Yeah, so that we give a true reflection of the term democracy in our country.
And what can we do? What can the government or the executive do to ensure that what is being preached about trickles to the ordinary Zambians and also to his lieutenants?
I think it's about people that have been entrusted with that responsibility to be so professional and to discharge their duties according to what the president is preaching about. Unlike what we are seeing where some emotions are involved and personal hatred is involved, malice and slander, and this compromises what the president is asking for. Yeah, so
when you
I
talk
think
about malice, slander, and emotions, what do you mean exactly?
I'll tell you the truth. When the president was having his first press conference, I think after he won the election, I think that was a time when he just landed from the United States of America. He made it clear, he said, and I quote, "I will govern based on 3 principles, and that is rule of law, respect of human rights, and democracy." And of course, the president cannot make that happen alone. He's got people that he has appointed that need to help him to achieve what he wants to achieve. But it's a pity that certain elements underneath there, they're pulling in a different direction as to what the president is asking for. So we all need to understand that at the end of the day, we can be PF, we can be Socialist Party, we can be Citizens First, we can be any other political party. But the thing is that we've got only one president, and when the president is pulling in this direction, we all need to follow. Yeah.
Right. Let's come now. Let's begin to break down some of these elements of democracy that builds or that leads to democracy, such as the human or respect for human rights. How has it been under the UPND administration? I don't want to talk about where we're coming from because it's clear that under the PF, the party where you belonged, I don't know if you are still a PF member, I'm not sure about it. Maybe you can clarify to the viewers out there your position. Are you still a PF member, sympathizer?
I think I've made it clear from the time we lost power. I've said I'm on sabbatical leave, and I'm enjoying my sabbatical leave. And when that time comes for me to publicly announce that now I'm back in politics and I belong to this political party, I'll be able to say whether I've gone to another political party or I've still remained in PF.
Right. Yeah. Respect for human rights, how has it been, the implementation?
I think the pronouncements from the executive or from the president himself, it has been on point, and he has been preaching about this, to say respect of human rights. But I think institutions like government operators that have been entrusted with that responsibility, they have not been practicing what the president is preaching. And that makes it difficult to an ordinary citizen to believe if that has been followed according to what the president is preaching about. Yeah. We have seen people being arrested, even UPND members being arrested for 7 days, and I think that is against what the president is talking about, because the president says if someone has committed a crime and our law enforcement agencies are with that person, if the crime is bailable or bondable, so to speak, give them bond or bail. But we have seen people being, even UPND members, being kept in cells for 7 days. So that is against what the president is preaching.
Yeah. With that conclusion, can we say the rule of law is being applied fairly or equally? Because you've cited that some of the UPND members, even them, they have gone for 7 days without being given bail or bond.
Personally, I don't think
some of them from the opposition.
Personally, I don't think that would be correct, because the president has made it clear that rule of law should be followed and respect of human rights should be followed. So let's follow rule of law. What does it say when someone has been arrested and the offense is bailable or bondable? What do you have to do as a police officer, or maybe as a SEC officer or DEC officer? Do you have to keep that person for a day or so before you give them bond? So if the president has made it clear, they just have to follow. It's as simple as that. And if they're not following, then they're not listening to what the president is saying.
And how do you compare our, our activities on human rights, its respect, to maybe other countries in Africa?
I'll tell you the truth. The other day I was at home and I was watching EFF doing their march past. I think EFF never waited for the police to give them the go-ahead to do their march past. It's in the constitution, just like those rights are in our constitution in Zambia. But you find that in Zambia it becomes a problem. If you go ahead, they don't respond to you. You go ahead, the next thing you see will be the police officers coming, locking you up, and keeping you up in cells, which is not supposed to be the case. We should be able to look at other countries and how they have respected human rights and how they've allowed the rule of law to flourish, and they've respected their democracy. For Zambia, I think we're a little bit behind. I was so surprised to see that even the president of Kenya, he actually told the opposition leader to say, look, I'm not going to stop you to do your demonstration, but make sure that you work closely with the police, that no one is affected. When we start reaching such levels, then we'll understand what democracy means and we'll appreciate it more. But in Zambia, usually we, not only under the UPND administration, but from 1964 up to now, we have a way where politicians will supersede the powers of democracy, which is not supposed to be the case.
On the very day, the example you've cited about, for example, the EFF in South Africa and versus Zambia, the protest that you're trying to compare. I remember that on the 20th of March, we did also see some protests happening in Nigeria. There was also a protest in Kenya, as we mentioned, on the very day as well. Senegal had its own protest. But I wouldn't want to mention Nigeria because Nigeria is older than Zambia. I will not mention Kenya because Kenya, again, is older than Zambia. Let's speak South Africa, which is a young democracy. Why do you think that South Africa is more as advanced, faster than Zambia, which is older than South Africa? Where is the problem? Why are we behind?
I think where the problem is that in South Africa, politicians have got a limit as compared to Zambia. They've got a limit. They can go up to a certain level, and then they'll start respecting the constitution, whether you belong to the ruling party or not. Unlike in Zambia, where politicians can just do whatever they want to do, for as long as maybe you belong to the ruling party. I'll give you an example. We had activists that were trying to march over, I don't know where, even that EFF president for Zambia was locked up, and something like that. And I remember one of our comrades, Ibrahim Mwamba, was also locked up. But when you go to South Africa and look at the demonstration that Malema and them had, they were having a conversation with police officers, something that we have never seen in Zambia. Police officers would say, where are you going next from here? What do you want from us? What can we do to make your demonstration better? So those can clearly show that we haven't reached that level yet. yet we got independence before Zambia, and we've got a constitution. So we need, I think for us as politicians, we need to draw a line between politics and government.
Do you think that is a deliberate move by the politicians you've branded to say sometimes they're the ones who are stepping on the rights of others? Do you think it's the problem of politicians, or maybe we don't have enough legislative laws?
No, I think it's a problem of politicians. We become too excited, and we feel we are more powerful than the Constitution. And to be honest with you, the blame I would put it on politicians, because the Constitution is there. We